Thanks, Salar. You guys hear me well? Okay, in the back? Good, all right. So, yes, CEO of Skype locally, it really doesn't sound very good. Actually, inside Skype I have a title, Site Leader, which makes more sense, actually. So Skype is a global organization. We have offices in many different places, and we don't have a sort of a geographical hierarchy as such. So all the teams at Skype in Tallinn are also international. All right, but I'll tell you a little bit about Skype, some of the key events in history, a little bit about how we work today, how we create products, and yeah, then you can ask questions like how is it with Microsoft, etc. So I can answer those questions as well. But before that, I just show you one video that sort of gives you what Skype has always been and what we still consider it to be, something warm and fuzzy and sort of close and social in positive sense. And this is actually the first TV ad we rolled in US somewhere in 2007. And we haven't been too marketing driven, although more and more it happens, but this is one of few Skype TV ads ever, so here it is.
It's just beautiful. It's so beautiful. We're calling it Laura. We think she looks like Laura. She already has a full head of hair. And she's got my eyes. Like everything else is good there.
The free Skype is going to be calls. You can remind them wherever they are.
All right, there it is. Very nice. Anyway, there was a challenge in the beginning, right? The challenge is that if you think about the speed of light, it's about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the global telecommunications standard unit within UN, the ITU, recommends that in order to have a meaningful conversation, the maximum delay that can be caused by infrastructure or technology can be only 150 milliseconds one way. Then it's still sort of bearable to talk to another person on the other end. Anyway, if you want to call to another side of the globe, it's about 20,000 kilometers. Let's say I tried to call New Zealand from here. And in vacuum, light travels, or signal travels 67 milliseconds. But you all know that most of the internet doesn't travel in vacuum, so it travels in fiber, which means that it's more dense material, which slows down the speed of light. And it's about 100 milliseconds it needs to travel, if it needs to travel 20,000 kilometers. However, in both sides of the fiber, there are global IP concentrators or providers who add their own infrastructural delay, all sorts of routers and additional cabling and stuff like that. So their service level sort of varies between 45 to 65 milliseconds globally. Some are better, some are worse. And then there is a local ISP like Elion here in Tallinn or Starman who adds God knows how many milliseconds to the delay of the traveling packets. That causes a lot of issues that if you want to have a real-time conversation, we want to transfer media in real-time manner, then you have a jitter, which is how much the delay fluctuates over time. Which you have to compensate for, and then you have always packet loss that is more and more common. There's more and more internet is Wi-Fi based, last mile basically. So you have all those issues, and you need to sort of still have that meaningful conversation happening. And if you want to know how we did it, then you have to come work for Skype and check out some code from Subversion and see how it was done. So, welcome. Anyway, the vision piece actually has been pretty stable for a couple of years. Tony Bates, who joined us beginning of 2010 as a CEO of Skype, articulated that vision together with leadership team, and And it still makes a lot of sense that we want to be sort of a global player and enabling those rich conversations over an internet to happen so people can actually rely on. And maybe people are relying on Skype today already. However, we are struggling hard to provide them the quality and reliability they need to have those experiences shared. A little bit about numbers very quickly. At the end of 2011, the study was made by Telegeography, I think it's the Institute of something, in terms of like they calculated all the international calling minutes and then they added Skype calling minutes on top of it, and they discovered that Skype represents 25% of international calling minutes. And what is interesting is out of those 25%, 50% are actually video calls. So there is a lot of international video calling happening, which we don't realize from like just thinking about that. We have about 40 million concurrent users online at the peak time. This is another big milestone we reached during this year. It's a lot of users if you think about real-time communication. It means that you have hundreds of thousands of Skype calls and chat sessions and tens of thousands of calls to normal telephone network happening in every second. All that, if you really want to know how many users Skype has, then how we calculate connected users or active users, a couple of names for that is users who use Skype more than 100 minutes a month. And we have 260 million people right now who use Skype that much. And yeah, last year all that totaled about 300 billion minutes served in internet. All right, so who we are and where we are, a little bit maybe hard to see, but I'll walk you through it. So chronologically, it started here in Tallinn very quickly after they realized what's the tax climate around Europe. The guys established the headquarters in Luxembourg. And right after that, they figured out that all business is done in London, so they established business development office in London. Then they figured out that our speed of hiring is slowing down, so we need to open up a new office in Central Europe. They chose Prague as a development center and bought Camino Networks, who is an audio company basically that provided us the audio codec. They bought it from Stockholm, and what else? Then guys realized that we need to establish presence in Silicon Valley, so they founded Palo Alto office, and already before that, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Tokyo were there, just to be close to those hardware manufacturers with whom Skype worked very actively in 2005, 2006. And we bought in 2010 a quick mobile video sharing service from Moscow. And last year, New York, we bought GroupMe, which is a small startup working on multi-platform group chat application, basically. Right, so these are the locations. It's quite unusual for such a small company like we are to have so many locations, but we are trying to do our best to mitigate this. Anyway, about the people. In Estonia, we today have 1/3 of the company, 438 people. And out of that, about 80% are Estonians and 20% foreigners out of 30 different nationalities. And yeah, about maybe 80 of them. Male-female ratio, gender ratio is very bad, 80-20. And what is even worse is that not too many of ladies are actually developers. So focusing on that, but it's hard. And out of Microsoft, of course, Skype is very small. I mean, we have 1,200 people globally against Microsoft's 96,000. So this is what we are. A little bit of timeline, so you understand that Skype has actually been going through a lot of different changes all the time. And new owners have happened every couple of years. Skype gets sold and bought. New guys come in, new management. Some of middle managers are also changed. If you compare that to the online user number, then you see how the value has been growing and the value of the company. And I guess Microsoft testimony last year paying $8.5 billion is something that can be taken pretty seriously. About the products, I guess you guys, all Skype users, I hope? Yes. So you know which platforms we have. We try to be as multi-platform as possible. Really, there is a huge issue with feature parity between platforms, and we're working on that. But then we have a lot of additional services which we are very good hiding from our users, unfortunately. But that's my opinion. But yeah, you guys are obviously aware about the possibilities around group video calling and making your computer to act as a phone and stuff like that. So maybe we'll show a small sort of showcase to show you where and how the world has been changing. I mean, one aspect which you have to keep in mind is that innovation in audio or video is really picking up. It's not slowing down, although it's sort of if you have been calling to conference bridges for 15 years, you might get that experience that, hey, nothing has been changing. But if you just compare, you guys ready with audio? I'm just playing a couple of samples. So how the world looked like last, I don't know, 30 or 40 business years.
To administer medicine to animals is frequently a very difficult matter.
In the course of a December tour in Yorkshire.
And now how it looks today at Skype.
To administer medicine to animals is frequently a very difficult matter.
In the course of a December tour in Yorkshire.
So the difference is huge, of course. The bandwidth that is necessary to transmit this level of quality is not actually something that you need a full broadband connection. No, it sort of works in 3G networks, and it is not something that people can't use. The idea behind this showcase was that actually your performance differs radically if you have to spend hours in phone bridges participating in meetings over this regular, normal telephone quality, versus when you participate over the video call, enjoying this high quality of sound. You don't get tired anymore. So you are able to focus more on the subject matter that you're discussing with other people. Then about video, so back in 2005 when Skype was launched, it was 240 pixels wide video we came out with, and we have been able to mitigate the development around sort of cameras, etc., so that we today are able to basically transmit full HD video to the other side, which makes a lot of course, television companies and media companies very interested about Skype and working with Skype to do that. Yeah, of course, if you have full HD video, you need a proper camera, proper network, proper processor speed at your computer delivering that. That's obvious. All right, now more interesting piece, how Skype actually works. So I guess in our space, where we have competitors like Google, we used to have a competitor like Microsoft, but not anymore. Apple, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. In this space, I guess all these companies are trying to figure out all the time how it's best to develop software. What is the model that would work best for our sort of complexity, for our ways of working, our geographical distribution, etc. So how, and they're trying to change that all the time, because that's some area that has changed over the last, 10 years radically. Everyone talking about Agile nowadays. Of course, Agile was there already 15 years ago, but they're now only picking it up. So Skype also has gone through several sort of iterations around how to develop software. And about 2.5, 3 years ago, we were really this, if you think about organization that is, the teams and the departments are basically architecturally, it represents the architecture of the software, for example. There is a back-end team, and then there is a front-end team and web team, and they use different type of technologies. Then we had projects. We had technical project managers who needed to be really uber educated around project management and technical side as well at the same time, so they could pick up the right resources from those teams. And teams went through huge struggle in terms of like, how do I estimate right, taking that I don't have the full specifications yet ready? How do I know when I'm in trouble or stuff like that? And then when the project was delivered, what happened was that next project came along, and that project manager basically went ahead and started to work on something different. And that product, possibly that got released with that project, was totally alone. Nobody really working with it, nobody monitoring it properly. There were aspects about maybe security or privacy. Nobody knew what is the status of that feature right now. So all these issues piled up to the level where we basically become one big organized chaos type of organization. So private equity company Silver Lake, when they bought Skype out of eBay, then they realized that and started to focus on something different, which how we work today. Is that we now have organization is really product engineering focused. It means that we have those product teams and who are cross-functional, who can develop, test, design, market, operationally maintain a specific product, and they have a lot of autonomy where they can take their product. Of course, they have to sort of somehow to be connected with overall company strategy and really support the joint mission. However, the way there and in what speed they can determine on their own. And they work on the top of the backlog, which is organized by return on investment. So you always work on the highest priority item and using Scrum to make that happen, basically. Really transparent and clear development methodology, and that has enabled us to have very fast release cycles. So we used to have the issue where we developed the full number version in maybe, I don't know, 6 to 9 months, even sometimes longer. Like version 4, it took us something like 14 months to come up with. Nowadays, we are able to release point releases basically every 60 days. Even often if necessary. It only depends how much features we have piled up for release, so it's product marketing wise to release to end users. Also, this approach to where we have fast product teams working on Scrum has basically changed our approach to quality as such. So we used to be pretty reactive. So what was happening, I used to be a quality engineering manager until last year at Skype, so I remember it very well. We used to really polish and stabilize the version before we went out with it, because we understood that the risks are high if we crash too much, if we corrupt user data, if we have privacy issues that are not solved, we're gonna get hurt, and in big scale, in like millions of users there. So we really focused making sure that we are there. Today we are actually not dealing with consequences anymore. We try to be proactive about quality and really build it in from the day one. So it means that we use a lot of continuous integration. You guys know continuous integration principles that Martin Fowler defined? If you have any IT connection, check it out, because it's extremely important to understand how automation and continuous integration can actually drive quality into the product. So we work with these kind of things for the last 2.5, 3 years, and we are almost there, but not quite yet, which is a good sign of something, how much time these radical changes take in organization, even such a small organization like Skype is with 1,000 people. The other aspect about internal products and external products is that obviously we have products you guys don't see, meaning that there are products who work with specific component because they need to have a small product team. They work with audio engine, for example, or they work with video codec. So these we call internal products. This is basically that is necessary to maintain some services, to make sure that innovation is happening at lower grassroots level, really where the smallest components get developed to the right direction. And then we have external products who are products that you guys see can either log in or install or download. So Skype versions on different platforms, our web page, our web store, we can buy services and buy credit and spend it. So today is close to 50 different product teams in Skype at work, and that grows, of course, a lot. So like we just moved from one system which was very chaotic to another chaotic system, because if you do these radical changes, you actually change one set of issues to another set of issues. So hopefully there is something that you gained. We gained definitely faster release cycle and maybe a little bit of improvement about quality, but you also have a new set of problems to work with. So with this approach right now, what are the issues are a huge list of dependencies between the teams, because it's really built up from ground level. Like you take audio codec, you put it in the audio engine, you make sure that the acoustic echo canceller, noise reduction algorithm, and everything else works together. You incorporate that into library code that makes sure that all the functionality is there and network is there and access to services is there. And then you create that on top of it, the user interface for different platforms. So it's a huge list of dependencies that people have to manage, and this creates a lot of problems, of course, today at Skype. Another issue that this brings along is that some products will be bigger, other products will be smaller. So bigger products start to sort of consume more and more attention, and if you think about a product like Skype Wi-Fi, it has a tremendous potential to solve the Wi-Fi purchasing issue all over the world, but it hasn't really picked up so well, so there is still a little bit marketing help that these guys would need. So all these kind of new issues come along, and this just to showcase how Skype is dealing with it, but this in your future companies, I guess it's something that you can take away from today and understand that this is a reality. So how actually we rally troops behind the mission at Skype, basically. How we make sure that the employees know what is right, what is wrong, and how to move what is the path I should take without asking anyone. And usually companies have their sort of company values, telling that we are customer focused, transparent, and honest, and blah, 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 which in many of the cases are actually words, and it used to be words for Skype as well, like we are honest and we are user focused, but then next year you introduce call sign-on, call starting fee. So how user focused is that, you know? So we had a lot of these disputes and arguments inside the company, like what is the right way there. And when Tony Bates joined in the beginning of 2010, he spent a lot of time to understand the culture in the company and actually came up with 4 principles that I show you today that we hold through. So first is that FIRE. We are product engineering led company. What it means is that we basically decided in the company who brings money to the table. Usually in companies, sales organization is the one who brings money to the table. Sometimes it's product marketing organization, I don't know, for Coca-Cola or something, you know. But in Skype, we have very little marketing and we don't have sales organization at all. So obviously, software engineers are those who make that happen. Which doesn't mean that all the other functions like finance, HR, localization, customer service, business operations, or fraud, anti-fraud department, that they are not important. Doesn't mean that. It means that we just optimize our processes in a way to make sure that the engineers are happy at the end of the day. Because that's where the innovation starts, and that's the delivery vehicle that we can, that is behind the revenues that we can achieve. So this has created a lot of sort of good understanding where we should go and how we should behave. The other principle, we are truly global, means that we don't have that one headquarters in Luxembourg or Palo Alto where orders are coming in and people working in factories realize it in a code and ship it off somewhere and somebody makes a wrong decision. Everything is bad for the next quarter. We are truly global here means that all those teams are really autonomous, that they can drive their own agenda. Their backlogs are ordered per ROI, so they can really focus on delivering the highest value that is possible at in any given moment. We are truly global here also means that we have been growing quite fast, and while doing that, we have always been focusing on hiring people from sort of a seniority-wise sort of middle layer. People with already some kind of experience around different companies in the industry, usually people who are really top in their area on certain location. Which means that they come in with their own understanding how work should be done, how reports should be written, how meetings should be organized, etc. So they come in and they get confused because it's sort of a zoo. Everyone has a strong opinion and then they might get stuck. So without understanding that complexity, I mean, Microsoft is different from that perspective, that they are taking in a lot of college graduates and they basically teach you how to think and you progress in a career, you behave in a certain way and everything is beautiful. So we don't have that luxury, and we have to focus making sure that teams are able to work even with this different understanding how work should be run. The other thing is, well, that it's really an international team. In Skype today, in Tallinn, 30 different nationalities, globally 50 different nationalities. So that creates a lot of friction. The third principle got recently merged with the fourth one. So fourth is in the brackets. So third is that we solve for a dynamic world, and then in the brackets there's and convert to ideas to users quickly. So this change just happened because we introduced very recently the fourth principle, which I'm coming to very soon. However, we solve for a dynamic world in this context means that we will never get ready. You can't live and operate in Skype thinking that, hey, now I'm doing this, and next week we are ready, and happiness arrives, and everything is clear, and everyone understands me, and since I've sent out that email, everyone knows what to do. This is not the case. The market changes, environment changes, technology advances. There is change all the time around us, and if you can't bear and accept that change, if you get those moments like, oh, nobody understands me, they're all stupid, then you have very hard time working at Skype, because that's the experience you get every day, that, hey, everything has changed again. How long they're gonna play around with this organizational structure? I mean, are those guys thinking at all? Well, they are, and that's why they're doing it. assume it and accept it. So yeah, we convert ideas to users quickly. This is something we already achieved with this cross-functional product teams working on the top of the backlog, very iterative way. And the fourth principle that just got introduced, that we put our users in the heart of our decision making, is something that we just realized possibly during the last year, where with these products, there is a tendency that some products advance faster, others don't advance so faster, and they might sort of start walking to different directions, basically. That's what can happen with this approach that we have taken. So we want to bring them together by asking them to focus on the users and really making sure that the user, well, there's a big struggle, and I mean, Steve Jobs doesn't believe you, and some other guys believe you, and that users can advance product and drive innovation. So two different schools at fight all the time, of course, but we can't just forget users' needs, and Skype is really a universal application. It could be actually more differentiated for different groups of people, but we haven't done that yet. Maybe we should. So all these kind of thoughts are in our minds today, and then there are very good examples where putting the users in the heart of the decision making had good results. Obviously, one is the maybe Amazon and a little bit of eBay as well, where they have you really feel that it's made for you. It's not made to make money, but it's made for you. It takes into account what you need in any given moment of purchase flow or product discovery or service use. So we hope to move to that same direction with this principle. All right. Let me see. I had one more slide in between here. Or maybe not. I thought I had, but it was hidden. Let's unhide it. Yes. So you guys in the back probably obviously can't see that, but I just had one additional slide to express the hardships that are connected to introducing changes into organizations, and this is something you can look it up, standard thing, but all these phases are with every change. So the expectations that everyone has is that, yes, I've sent out that email about the organization change, so tomorrow everyone just starts to talk to the right people and do the right things. However, you know, after tomorrow, day after, sort of people sort of get very angry that, hey, things are not working how they used to, everything is fucked up. I mean, what those guys know at all? And then they start to adapt a little bit, and the motivation goes really down, and their performance has a serious hit, and then they see that adaptation is very stressful, and this really takes I'm ready to quit, basically, type of situation happens. And over time, then after you touch the bottom, you start to think about again that, hey, probably I have to really read that email once more to understand what was discussed, and start to accept a little bit the situation, and then actually can focus moving on, because you find some reason maybe you were not able to find in the first run when you read that, because it was something new for you. So anyway, that was just a slide I wanted to add to describe the change evolution, and this is exactly what has happened in Skype as well. Alrighty. A little bit about the context where Skype is today, and it used to be sort of about computers, right? Then it was about connected computers. Then it was about connected terminals, and then those connected terminals went into internet, and probably now we are living a time where the terminals or computers, it doesn't matter anymore. The application does. The application itself even doesn't. Something that you need, the solution to that need dictates the world. So if you take out your mobile phone and you want to, say, have an application around recording meetings, for example, then you don't type into application into App Store the exact name you have Googled for earlier. You just type recording, and you get selection of applications. You select the highest ranked application and start using it in basically 30 seconds. And if that doesn't happen, you select next one, and you move on. So I guess that's the life today, and it took a while to get to here, and nobody really knows where is the next stage, but that's where platforms and things really start to change very quickly, because if the Skype thing didn't log on in 5 seconds, it took 30 seconds, you probably quit and you select Viber, and our business is over, basically. Another angle to the same thing, basically, this is something, if you have read or following the industry, then it's all known facts for you, but the smartphones and tablets are really taking over, and personal computer growth is limited. The shares there, of course, are changing all the time. So if you look at mobile area, that is extremely important, is that this dynamics there are really have been changing. This is from 2009 until end of last year, basically. Hopefully we see further changes there, but probably it consolidates down to 3 key players, like it used to be in the old world a couple of years ago. About Skype in future, obviously I can't tell you the full roadmap here. You understand the reasons. But we definitely are really extremely focused to make sure that the Metro experience that Windows 8 will provide, both in tablets and computers, has the best Skype experience coming with it, basically. So really extremely important focus and something we have to deliver during this year. We continue to be a European company, although Microsoft is extremely Redmond-centric what goes to engineering. All the rest of 121 countries have mostly sales offices where Microsoft has presence. But Skype keeps to be European origin, and we grow in Europe, our engineering. We, of course, retain the brand. I mean, I've been speaking about Skype here. We use Skype all the time, blah, blah. We are not talking about ourselves as part of Microsoft. We're more really focused to make sure that the brand stays intact. And actually, my daughter told me yesterday that there is a new word in Estonian language that just got injected into this encyclopedia of õigekeelsus sõnaraamat. No, there is a book that tells you, basically Oxford Dictionary, like Estonian version, basically, yeah, that tells you what words have what and what words mean what. So there is a new word called Skypeima, which is calling over Skype, and that's part of Estonian language now. So we can't move that brand anymore anywhere. Multi-platform commitments. So Steve Ballmer was here 2 times, sitting in the meeting room with us, and really these are quotes from his statements that he thinks communication, well, obviously he thinks communication is a universal thing, and there's no way we can we can put platforms into that play. We have to be multi-platform, available on all different platforms. The integration with Microsoft is probably a question that comes to your mind. However, with this, if you a little bit read and study about mergers and acquisitions, then you see that there are a couple of outcomes that can happen. And 90% of those outcomes are bad. And only maybe one alternative is good about mergers. And everyone, of course, hopes that this one alternative, this one scenario is something that people achieve. However, in most of the mergers, acquisitions, this is not the case. So what we fear the most is that the integration with Microsoft products could limit us innovating around the communications and sharing, creating solutions to share those experiences that people have. So really focus to retain the innovation piece and integrate where it's either politically right thing to do or it really meets the user needs and solves and saves money or whatnot. So really focus on the further development from keeping that in mind. One of good examples is Yahoo, who just has been buying a lot of different assets, but where is Yahoo today? Right? Yeah, it has a new CEO, but that's it. Yes. Of course, Microsoft is big in enterprise. Skype is not. We tried a couple of times to go. We actually are relatively big in small and medium size, depending on which country we look. So we have this Skype manager, which enables you to allocate credit to your company employees and really control their spend and stuff like that. However, Microsoft, of course, has a huge presence in enterprise sector, so hopefully we can integrate Skype into that offering somehow. And yeah, like I already mentioned, we have to keep innovating around reach and always on and everywhere communication. Alrighty, so what I covered was basically give you a little bit of history, explain how we work, how we develop products, and what is hopefully there in future and what are our focus areas in future. So any questions, please, let's have a discussion.
So, please, questions? So it's a, yes.
Sorry, what's the story or saga about the name Skype? How did it come into being?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's even catching on to the Estonian language now, which is interesting. But where are the origins of the name and the logo?
So a logo actually has been staying the same pretty much all the time. The colors have changed a little bit. It used to be red at the beginning. Then it was green, and now it's blue, and the shades of blue have been slightly changing, and maybe there's some gradient variation, but it's actually been pretty stable. The name, it used to be Skyper, so I guess it was sort of a sky, which is universal everywhere, with peer-to-peer architecture, so Skyper sort of made a sense. And at some point of time, they dropped the R just, and even before they released, I guess, they dropped the R piece. So it was basically early 2003 when the domain was registered, skype.com. Then the R was already gone, and in August 2003, they came up with the first version.
Who came up with the original brainchild for the company?
There is a legend about it. One legend that I know, I haven't been speaking with founding engineers about that, but one of the sort of legend is that, I mean, these guys, Estonian engineers and Niklas and Janus, they worked together before. The Estonian guys created a website for Tele2 over the weekend, which was called everyday.com. That was one of the first sort of local Estonian websites that was then Tele2 sort of owned that portal, and that was beginning of 2000s. So they worked before together, and guys were building Kazaa at the same time. So I guess at some point of time they realized that architecture, peer-to-peer architecture can be also used to deliver real-time communication, not only communication on demand, which file sharing is.
More questions?
Yes.
I know it's hard for Skype as a global company to work with governments. China government tried to limit Skype calls. The other governments try to control Skype. I know that there is a way of protocol allowing to record basically private conversation on demand. So the question is how close Skype is operating with governments in most of the countries.
Yeah. If there is a way, I don't know about it. So I don't know that you can tap into protocol and listen in. I'm not aware that this is possible because first, it's the traffic is really spread. It's in peer-to-peer network. It's encrypted, which means that after getting it, you have to decrypt it, and to do that real time or even afterwards. It's extremely hard task. The other thing is that the traffic is also obfuscated, which means that you don't know which packets are Skype packets and which packets are something else. So to do that, it's technically extremely hard task. Skype is working with legal or authorities in different countries exactly according to the law of that country. Yes, so that's, I guess that's the standard answer you all expected for, but that's the case. Because, I mean, if police orders us to tell something, and this is by the law accepted in that country, so what do? You have to apply. You have to, act lawfully. The whole question around this sort of who listens whom, etc., and the privacy issue, you have to keep in mind that it's about 1 million times easier to tap into your computer and capture these keystrokes and voice before it ends, before it reaches the Skype software. So either just put the microphone in your room. All your Skype conversations are right there. You don't need to send a huge pile of data to, I don't know what US had those big computers, farms or something. Anyway, the world is much simpler than it looks actually from that perspective.
Is it true at least that in China the protocol is
So in China, the version of Skype that is allowed by Chinese government is made in tom.com. Actually, they make the UI, and the library comes from Skype, and then they work as they need to work. I don't know how they, whether and how much they share that information.
Okay, we have one question here.
Yes.
Besides being a Windows user, I'm also like a Linux user, and like most of the people, I had also some problems with using Skype on a Linux distribution, one of Linux distributions, like this upside down webcam problem or etc.
Yeah.
And
have you upgraded to the latest one? Because I know we released just
right
4.
now I don't have Linux on my PC.
Oh, yeah. Check out the last version. There's a lot of bug fixes there. Yes.
I wanted to say like Linux, like Skype releases are very dynamic, as you said. But especially my concerns are increased after acquisition by Microsoft.
Yes.
So what is the future aspect and strategy of Skype? I mean, you give more importance to Microsoft, Windows, of course. But what is the aspect of Linux distribution? You will totally, ignore them or? So,
yeah, if I could predict the future, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you here, guys. But anyway, I think it continues as it is right now. As it is right now, obviously we focus on the platform that has about 85% of our users. So that's Windows. All the first features, there are a couple of exceptions, but all the features that we have released are coming up on Windows first. Then on Mac, and then hopefully in Linux as well. So we see the world through our users' eyes. If Linux has very little users, which it unfortunately has, then those features probably will arrive a little bit later. But they will arrive eventually, yes. So if you think about Skype today, the Windows is the biggest, of course, then it's iOS is the second. And then comes only Mac OS X and Linux distributions after that.
But let me expand the final question, because I know you're very busy going to the next meeting. So it's very nice you put it how you're going to connect, basically, or link or integrate Skype more with Windows or Microsoft products. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So the most important Microsoft product, what we know, is probably Microsoft Office.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just leaves for our imagination how to integrate, for example, Skype and Excel and Skype
Mm-hmm.
or Word. But still, my question is, in 5 years, what do you think what's the most critical feature Skype users will really appreciate? Most critical feature? Is it kind of online chatting? Is it really peer-to-peer talking?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really connecting, I don't know, Microsoft Office products to Skype? Or what's the most critical feature? Because competition is fierce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not to integrate Skype with Facebook?
Yeah.
Maybe it gives you
Well,
access to 1 billion customers.
it's already there. So Facebook video calling is powered by Skype. You have tried it out. And you can get Facebook contacts to your contact list at the Skype client as well. But I think what I personally would like, and I know that we are working towards that, is that I can, in smart way, take all my conversations with me independently on the platform I'm using. So if I'm if I'm at conference call, and I need to leave, it gets delayed, you know, I need to leave. Then I basically walk away and sit in the car automatically. Of course, the audio goes in the car microphone, and I continue to listen in, and mute function hasn't stopped. Me moving through different venues with different noise levels, etc. And then in the car, I just can tap the screen and start talking again, you know. I arrive at home, I don't want to put up the computer, but I would like to see what is I know that one sort of IM is about to come, or somebody was writing something when I had to leave the office, you know. And then I could take my tablet, and really, tablet knows I'm there. It's already logged in, everything, and I see the thing there. So really be liquid, sort of, between different environments, platforms, and focus on the users that are necessary on that moment. Right now, Skype tries to be Skype everywhere in the same way. That's not necessary. We need to change our behavior, change our how we look on different platforms, depending on the feature that the user needs and connected to that platform.
So definitely your future customers are still human persons,
Yes.
machines, tools, and things.
Yes, yes. By the way, tools use Skype very well as well. All our infrastructure of testing and builds, etc. The robots in the multi-chats that talk to people, letting them know that this build got ready or this result was bad, etc. And they use real language. So they have a vocabulary of some sort where they make jokes every once in a while and stuff. So that's very funny. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Oh. Ah, cool.